Hi, everyone. Welcome into the Peace and Love podcast episode. I'm your host, Siva. I'm pretty excited for this episode today because it's a little bit of my current energy. And so you can kind of look into my world, elevate yours, and we'll elevate together. So today's episode is going to be all about letting go of perfectionism. You are perfect just how you are. You're made in God's image. You are divinity itself, experiencing itself. You're living your life, doing your best, and your best is perfection. So today I'm going to get into mindset shifts that are going to take you from trying to be perfect, burning you out in every area of your life, because how you do one thing is how you do everything, to letting go of that and coming into this awareness that I'm perfect just how I am. It's okay if I don't show up perfect. It's okay if I don't always look perfect. And feeling at peace and comfortable within that, instead of cringing at what you see when you see yourself in a picture, like, oh my gosh, my mascara is smudged on the side of my eye, my hair is uneven, my shirt needs to be rearranged, I need to suck in a little bit more. You're going to take that energy that says, ugh, I could have done 3 steps better, and put that into knowing who you are, knowing your worth. So when you see that picture, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I look so beautiful that day. That day reflects my exact energy. I remember how much fun I had in that day. Instead of always trying to come from perfection, remembering who you are, like, oh my gosh, I had such an amazing day that day. Focusing on the amazing things that you're being and doing in the world, instead of the 1% that you didn't do, how you're not showing up how you want to, and focusing on your gains. I mean, it's so easy to look at yourself and say, okay, this can be improved, this can be improved, that can be improved, and this definitely needs to be improved. But you forget totally about all of the things that you improved when you did that overhaul last week. And so when you're constantly keeping yourself like that, it's putting yourself on a hamster wheel. And the hamster wheel gets you nowhere, obviously, but it also keeps insinuating that I'm just not good enough how I am. I'm just not good enough how I am. I need to run a little bit more on the hamster wheel. One day we'll get there. And so when you can start coming from, I am good enough, that's when you can feel relaxed. That's when you can feel that self-love energy. Because self-love does not say, oh, I need to do this in order to be perfect. Self-love acknowledges yourself as perfect as you are. And so we're going to get into shifts that you are going to take to level up and be this non-perfectionist seeking badass. And in the spirit of today's episode, it was crazy. Like, my thermostat had just gone AWOL and broke, and I couldn't get the AC off. In the past, I'm like, I wouldn't have filmed. I would not have filmed if there's the ACs on the background. It can't be done. I can't record a podcast. The audio is not going to be perfect. There might be a little bit of noise in the background. But today, how I'm showing up is, okay, it might be slightly imperfect. The episode might not even be good. Okay, it's my best, and the episode is valuable. I am valuable. My time is valuable. My energy is valuable. And I do this because it's part of who I am, showing up. And so I want you to be able to show up fully being your best and not worrying about the little details. Another thing I did just to push myself even further today in the energy of letting go of perfectionism is I usually check, I do a test run to see how I'm sitting in the frame, how the audio sounds, making sure everything's okay. And I didn't do that. So I might be slightly to a side or something. My makeup might not be perfect, but today I'm really showing up with you in this energy of, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. And it was interesting. I had made this post, but then I got a dream about perfectionism. And it's so funny because not only when we're a perfectionist, not only do we think okay, I just need to be a perfect version of myself, but we always are looking for perfect circumstances. And so one thing that I really feel honored to have had the experience of inner knowing is your perfect time, your perfect place, your perfect job, your perfect experience is today. Maybe you don't always feel that way, but perfection is in the present, and just going around looking for even better, it keeps you from acknowledging the perfection in this moment. So that's what today is all about, is being where you are now, loving it and being it. And so, you know what? You might have this thought about perfectionism like, okay, it helps you get far. You know what? I understand this mindset. I've been this mindset. It's like if you show up with your face beat perfectly and you dress well, maybe people respect you more. Maybe you feel more valued. If you show up at your job and you do everything to the T, the management really appreciates that. And it helps you get ahead in life. If you show up in your spirituality and you get really disciplined and you meditate every day relentlessly, you can get results. And I want to say, when being a perfectionist, I know that you can probably have this all or nothing mindset. It's like it's either all perfectionism or all loosey-goosey. Nobody gives a fuck about anything. That's chaos. Nobody wants chaos. You don't want chaos. I definitely don't want chaos. But I want you to know that you can hold those two things at once. You can hold, okay, I'm letting go of and breaking out of my perfectionism, but I'm also showing up and doing my best. The big separator, the big differentiating thing is like, okay, well, where am I pulling my worth from? Am I feeling worthy because I'm showing up? I look beautiful. I have beautiful hair. I have beautiful makeup. People really appreciate the perfectionism and the time that I put into my appearance. Is that where my worth is coming from? Is my worth coming from the perfectionism, the excellence that I put into my job, the precision that I do everything, how I know so much? Is that really what makes me worthy? Is the worth coming from just how perfect I present my life to be? You can see me on social media. I'm traveling. I'm doing these things. I look like I have the perfect life. Is that where my worth comes from? And I mean, I resonate with all these examples. I'm sure you do. I'm sure most women do. But where we want to really have our worth placed is not on these artificial things. Like being able to show up as authentically you is far better, far more relaxing than having to be somebody on your socials, than having to feel like if I have one singular pimple on my face, that it's going to be a problem. I'm no longer beautiful. And then you don't feel good. Feeling like if you didn't make the money that week, or you made a mistake in your job, there goes your worth right out the window. Is it really that fickle? Are you really that feeble to just like let your worth go out of the window? No, I don't want you to live like that. I don't want to live like that. You deserve to have your worth rooted in something much deeper, beyond anything even physical. Beyond anything even physical. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You are not your job. You are not the car you drive. You are your soul. You are your spirit. And that is what you can start placing your worth on. The Most High. That is what you can start placing your faith, your trust, and your worth in. Nothing physical can ever really amount to the worth that you inherently have just because you exist, just because you are. And so let me delay no further and let's get into these 4 shifts. So the first thing that we really need to do and get used to is discerning. Like I just said, there's a huge scale. It's not this like all or nothing, always 100% perfect, or just loosey-goosey, absolute chaos, madness, no order. Right? So there's an in-between. And so you need to start developing discernment for what is perfectionism and the energy of perfectionism and what is actually my best effort. There's going to be a huge feeling difference when you are in the energy of, I want to create this and I want to create this so beautifully. And I'm so inspired by how everything is and just like moving things around, making it beautiful, like whatever you're doing, versus not good enough. I need to edit this out. I need to censor this part. I need to move this around. I need to redo this and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And you can feel the difference. That if you don't know what I'm talking about, I mean, I'm sure you can, once I've pointed this out, your reticular activating system will like, okay, click here's what it's talking about. So you'll notice it after I explain this is what I'm getting at. But to describe it even further, it's like a physical tension. Like when you are in the energy of perfection, you're like cutting off the life force energy into your body, whoop, closing that straw, whoop, because we're so tense, we're so in the energy of just like contraction, because it's built on this lie of that we're not good enough how it is. And so this thought, these implications, it just causes stress, contraction, and in that state your creative juices, your life force energy cannot flow through you. And so the energy of inspiration and creating from inspiration and beautification is completely different. Like right now I feel so uninhibited, and this episode I'm probably showing up a lot more different because like I'm not even worried about my grammar, a lot more different. Like that doesn't even matter right now. I'm in the flow. And when you're in the energy of non-perfection, you are just allowing whatever comes up to come up, and you're feeling into your body. It's a relaxation, it's an enjoyment. And when it's like following energy, right? Just being in the stream of life I've talked about on here. And so when you are relaxed and in the flow of creativity, you feel good. It's a relief. Imagine like it's like a bra or something. It's just like wearing tight clothes all day, like trying to be perfect, like in a suit, versus just like relax, open, like being. And you can feel the difference in what you are doing if it's coming from a space of inspiration, beautification, high energy, elevation. Ooh, that was freestyling. Or it's coming from, see, that was flow. That's the type of flow that I'm talking about. Or if it's coming from, I need to like pick out every single word very intentionally. And I can't, I should re-say that. I can't make a mistake. Oh, so like in a practical example, that might be like with your makeup. Are you really stressed the fuck out putting your foundation on because what if I make a mistake? What if I sweat it off later? What if they see this little thing I got going on? What or just like my eyeshadow is too dark, my lipstick is too light, and you're by the end of it, you're not even feeling good. You're just feeling stressed. You hate your makeup. You want to redo the whole thing. That is such a perfectionist thing. Like you get done with it and you're like, fuck it, I want to redo the whole thing. It's not good enough. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And it's not just things with like makeup. It's like work things, making a whole deal and just being like, fuck it, it's not good enough. I don't want to do it. And so when you are in the space of perfection, it's going to slow everything down. It's like driving with your brakes on. So say that you have something extravagant that you're going to, and you're doing your makeup like that. By the end of it, your energy's lower, you're all tense, you want to restart your makeup, so you restart your makeup. I've literally done that before, like on my birthday. Done my makeup, hated my makeup, taken it off, redone my makeup. So the setup was that I was running late to, and so stressed on a day that my goal was just to like enjoy, and wanting to enjoy it so much from a place of perfectionism had me show up in a way that was so stressful. I ended up like hating everything about like what I was wearing, how I looked, my makeup, and then still feeling so rushed, and then being like late. And so at that point, is it even fun? At the end of the day, would you rather look perfect and having a great experience, or would you rather have this terrible experience and like maybe you look a little bit more put together? But the thing is, even if you look, quote unquote, I'm using my fingers to quote if you're just listening, even if you look, quote unquote, good, like a little bit more put together, you're not going to have that same magnetism. You're not going to have that inner glow that really makes you look good. Like that day, that was a weird day. I just felt so bad. That set me up for like the worst birthday ever, and it was supposed to be the best birthday ever, right? And it was because of that energy of perfectionism. And after that, it was like, I will never do this again. I will never have a day like this again. But what I'm getting at is like, okay, maybe I looked maybe like a quote unquote a little bit more put together, maybe, foundation versus just concealer, whatever you want to say. But how I was showing up was from a place of tension, a place of still not feeling like it was good enough. And so that doesn't mesh when you're talking to other people, when you're trying to go out into the world. You can kind of see it on somebody when they're stressed, they're tense, they're irritated. And that's how I was feeling. And so it was no wonder the rest of the day just follows, right? And so getting yourself into this energy of I'm perfect, just how I am, just doing what feels right. Maybe it's a day where you don't feel like you have to do your makeup. Like this is hilarious. The same thing with me today. I usually beat my face for the podcast just because I feel like it looks a little bit better on camera. I put like tinted sunscreen on because I want to go outside later. And I knew that would just be a better experience than me putting on the makeup. And I didn't say, oh, I have to put on the makeup. I have to be presentable because I'm filming today. No, it was like, this is my perfect today. And me feeling this freedom, this lightness on my face, it'll be a better podcast episode, even if it doesn't look perfect. And the old me, Siva on her birthday, wouldn't have been thinking like that. She would have said, oh, but I'm going to post this on YouTube and people are going to see it. Like, what if they don't click on the thumbnail? Because like, blah, 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 blah. So you just really give yourself the permission to actually be and show up how you want to be versus just like trying to make it perfect and then you stress yourself out. So getting clear on to you, what is that feeling in your body? That's a good way of saying it. What's the feeling in your body when you are activating that perfectionism thing versus what is the feeling in your body when you are in the space of divine creation and flow? And even your makeup can be divine creation and flow. Your job can be divine creation and flow. Everything that you do can be. And how you do, I've said this already in this episode, and I've said it before, but how you do one thing is how you do everything. So when you do be perfectionistic, I made up a new word, perfectionistic about your wardrobe, about your makeup, it can be, it's like one thing, okay, that's a small thing. But if you're doing it, and for one thing, you're doing it in every single area of your life. If you are making yourself late, saying no to opportunities because you can't pick out the right outfit, you are taking your time, slowing down things in your love life, and missing out on opportunities in your love life because you're being a perfectionist. It seems completely unrelated, but the thing it has in common is you. If you are being a way in one area, you're being that way in all areas. And so it's so important to just acknowledge, okay, if this is coming up for me, like, let's head on, address it, because like it's not going to help you in any area of life if it's not helping you in one area. So getting clear on what's perfectionism energy versus what's flow energy, right? Step number 1. This kind of goes with my last thing. It's so a lot of times when we were getting into perfectionism energy, which I could tell you a lot about this. Like, I was a person, and sometimes I am still kind of like running late. It's important to me that I'm there when I say I'm going to be there, because the power of your words, right? But if I'm super into perfectionism energy, things are going to take 7 times longer. And especially, like I shared that story for my birthday, I was running late because I was in perfectionism energy. And perfectionism energy, things just take years to get done, because you're saying, okay, I need to make sure this is perfect. And so I'm checking, improving. No, delete it, everything, start over, scratch. So like, not only does it, maybe it takes you longer in a time sense of like on a day-to-day basis, but it might take you longer to get results. Like, think about that. If it's taking you longer in the area of like getting dressed for the day, don't you think your perfectionism is taking you longer to get results in the gym? Like, it again, it might seem unrelated, but perfectionism, like I said, is like driving with your brake on. And so one thing that you can do to help you on a day-to-day basis is set time challenges. If it usually takes you an hour to get ready, try to do it in 30 minutes. Maybe if you really want to push it, try to do it in 20. Try to do it in 10. Because, I've also mentioned this before. Time can compress, time can shift. And so you might notice that whatever you allot yourself the time for, you have the capability somehow to stretch or compress, more likely, the action into this time frame. And so setting that time challenge might be really helpful for just getting in the zone and getting it done. I remember one time I was telling my dad, oh my gosh, I only have like 20 minutes to get ready now, or whatever the time was. And he was like, that's good. You only have 20 minutes. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I don't remember exactly how he phrased it, but he was like, you have 20 focused minutes. You're going to get ready, really focused now. And sure enough, like, it was the quickest I had gotten ready all week, because we just didn't have the time. And so I made it happen, and it wasn't stressful, actually. And so, there's going to be I don't know the correct term, but there's going to be a scale of like what's too much and what's not enough. So with time challenges, maybe saying, okay, I'm going to challenge myself to do this work project in an hour. Maybe that's really cutting it. Maybe that is cutting it so much that you are going to be stressed. And I'm smiling right now because I'm recalling from my previous job when I worked at, in property management. I would try to do my work as quickly as possible in a day. I would literally like sit there, and I would be it was like I was running a race with some like invisible competitor, because I just wanted to get everything done so quickly, so efficient. I was at this job, I was obsessed. I was literally obsessed and possessed by efficiency. Every single system that we had, I would try to make it take less time and do it with less effort. And that could be a really good quality in a company, because I would change things, and like how I would do it saved us hours, and it saved us money and time. So that, I'm sure that was helpful in a way. But that, in an extreme, is like the shadow side of that is like, okay, you're stressed because this actually just takes X amount of time, and you're trying to compress it even further. And when you start dabbling into compressing things too much because of perfectionism, right, and shortening systems too much because of perfectionism, you are stressed out. You are missing details that are important, but are of little importance to you, I guess, and you're missing the nuance of enjoying something. So I would say with that, there's a happy medium of like, what's the stress zone, what's the la zone, and where is like the golden green middle of like the time challenges. Don't stress yourself out trying to get ready in 5 minutes. I mean, maybe it's fun to do it once to see, can I get ready in 5 minutes? Or can I do this project that normally takes me a really long time in 5 minutes? I've done this before and been so surprised. Oh, this usually takes me an hour. I'm getting it done in 20 minutes. What's going on here? So you might be surprised with all the different things in your life. It could be from making your breakfast to, at a work project, like I talked about, maybe something that you are doing for fun, maybe a something else. But it's not, the point here isn't to just like save time, because that comes from perfectionism, but it's to apply this to the things that you are spending a lot of time really worried about being perfect, and giving that energy of like, okay, this is the time allotted for it. I'm going to make it perfect in this time. I'm going to do my best in this time, but no more. And it's not going to take my focus away from the rest of my life, because I'm going to be good enough no matter how this exact details of this look. So it's in a very specific context that I'm talking about this. But if you're that type of perfectionist where you'll spend a lot of time on something, then that tip is for you. So I kind of alluded to this in the beginning, but this is like probably the most important part. Start building this belief that I do not have to be perfect in order to have the success, the money, the achievement, the happiness, the love. I don't have to be perfect in order to get love. I even didn't say the word perfect. I don't have to do anything to get love, because I am inherently worthy. And when you start putting your attention on the world of the unseen and the world of just you being, putting your worth onto things that are real to you instead of things that are real to the world, that's going to be the biggest shift. Now, most of you are probably going to relate to this in a God sense, like, my worth comes from God. But it doesn't have to, be onto anything like too spiritual if that's not you. Your worth can be just placed to the fact that you exist. I exist, therefore I'm worthy. All people are born. No one is born and they're like, this one, not so much. This one's worthy, that one's not. That one we'll have to decide later in life. All people are born worthy. And so that your worth can be tied to that simple fact that you are having a human experience right now. Therefore, you are worthy. Period, point blank. No man is above you. No person is better or worse than you. They're all having this human experience as you. So therefore, if another man is having this experience of being a millionaire, being a trillionaire, aren't you worthy of that as well? If this other man is experiencing self-love, and I just mean man as in human, if this other woman is experiencing self-love and love, aren't you worthy of that? Of course. And so I just want you to just contemplate all the time, like, what is my worth really being tied to? Am I worthy because of how I look, or is it something deeper? Your worth can be tied to, I'm a kind person. Even though that is something that can change, you are in control of how you show up. You could decide one day to be mean, yeah, but you have built your character over years. You've decided who you are and who you aren't through different challenges, and you've proven to yourself, I'm an integrous person. This situation has happened, that situation has happened. Through it all, I've remained true to my core, true to my values. And you can place your worth on the fact that I've cultivated these values, and this is something that I've built. I feel that. You can put your worth onto the fact that you have built with your own will, like your strength in the gym, your strength and your discipline from going to yoga. Not necessarily that you have muscles because of it, not necessarily because you could do a handstand now. The fact is that you spent hours getting to that point. And the you that shows up every single week to put in the work, that is the you that you have reverence for and you feel worth because of it. So it's okay to derive some worth from things that are real and experiential. But I also just want you to have that seed of, you don't have to do anything. just because you exist. And so I think the most important part is like, where do you really derive worth from? Where do you get that juice? Because you might say, okay, yeah, I get my worth from the Most High. I get my worth from the universe. I get my worth from whatever thing that you title beyond yourself. But what do you really get juice from is a different story. Maybe you say, I get my worth from the Most High, but yet you spend a lot of time thinking, I wonder how X, Y, and Z perceived my post. I wonder how they thought about how I look today. I wonder if they're interested in me and posting things or saying things for people's approval. There might be a difference between what you actually derive your worth, and I say juice, like what gives you that hit of like, oh, I am worthy, I am that girl. Is it putting on an outfit and doing your makeup? And again, there's nothing really wrong with feeling like that girl because you are dressed to the nines with your Louboutins on. But if that is the only thing that gets you there, that isn't sustainable and it's not real. And eventually it will fade. That's like the cosmic joke of life, right? We have this beauty when we're young, we're really adored and, I don't know, like sought after. But after a while, your physical beauty fades. You must have your worth placed on something somewhat deeper than how you look. You must, because eventually things are going to change, and it's not sustainable for you to only derive worth from putting on makeup, feeling like a bad bitch, wearing your heels. Like, you don't have to just disregard the part of you that's like, okay, that felt nice. But again, is that the only thing that you're getting juice from? And what things that are 100% in your control do you get juice from? That's what self-love is all about. Self-love is all about giving yourself juice, filling up your cup, giving yourself feelable energy. When I'm talking about juice, I mean you feel it in your body. You are excited. You feel fulfilled. You feel like that girl. You feel like incredible. You feel beautiful. You feel amazing. You feel divine. You feel feminine. You feel relaxed. You feel pure. You feel ecstatic. But these are just from actions that you're doing for yourself. And it might have nothing to do with how you look. I mean, for me, one of the actions is making this podcast. Kind of weird maybe to other people, but there's something in my soul that really resonates with this. One of those things for me is volunteering. One of those things for me is giving flowers to people. One of those things for me is making art. One of those things for me is praying or meditating or just journaling, spirituality. One of those things for me is going on a walk and seeing the beauty of nature. One of those things for me is cuddling up in bed and I feel like I'm just so cuddled. I'm not cuddling with anybody, but I just feel so cuddled and supported in bed, because you don't actually have to have another person to experience that feeling of being loved and feeling so cuddled and cozy and supported. So what in life really do you get that juice from just by yourself? And I was thinking the other day, this is kind of inappropriate, but it's like self-love is like masturbation. It's like, how are you giving yourself that experience without any other person? And you could say like, and that might not even be the best example, because it's just different from being intimate with another person. But it's literally anything that you're experiencing getting from another person, whether it be sex, whether it be approval, whether it be cuddling, maybe affirmation, acts of service. I mean, you could list all the love languages and more. You can always get that from yourself. And if you don't know how to give it to yourself, there's more introspection to do, because it can feel the exact same way. It can feel the exact same way. That's what I'm talking about. To me, I could be cuddled up in a bed with somebody else, Or I could be cuddled up in bed by myself and literally still have the same feeling. It's the energy, it's the frequency that you're creating. And so you have to find a way to create that from yourself, for yourself. I got a little bit far from original point of you don't have to be perfect in order to do all these things. But I just want you to keep building your worth, building that self-love. And once you have that self-love, you'll understand, oh, I don't have to be perfect because I can create all of this all at once for myself. There's no need for perfection even. I can be imperfect and still feel love. I can be not showing up 100% face beat, 100% in my job and still be loved. And that doesn't mean you're not giving effort, like I said, but just being yourself, honoring where you are in the moment, and still knowing that you always have access to the love. Because guess what? You learn through this whole process, you create the love. You create the love. So that leads me to my last point. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is start being okay showing up as not perfect. That's going to be the quickest way to get you there. Maybe you wear your hair in a way that is like, it's not perfect. Maybe you don't do your makeup 100% in a perfect way. Maybe you don't edit and create everything to be just so polished. Maybe you allow yourself to go outside with something on your face just as an exercise to be cringy. But the more that you allow yourself to be seen as imperfect, or show up, or put out things that you're like, that's a little imperfect. The AC is running. That's a little imperfect. I'm going to put it out there anyway. My hair is a little messed up. That's a little imperfect. I'm going to put it out there anyway. But once you start doing that and you put things out there and it's imperfect, something really incredible is going to start happening for you. You're going to realize, not intellectually, but experientially, that even when I am imperfect, I am still safe. Even when I am imperfect, I am still loved. Even when I am imperfect, I am still valuable. And that's not an experience that you can get from any other thing besides just showing up, being authentic, and being okay to be seen fully as you are, even if it is imperfect. And so your nervous system is going to start to regulate, and you are going to say, okay, they saw me on here. My hair is messed up. They still saw it. They still watched it. I put it out there. I didn't die. Whew, what a relief. I went and talked to a guy and I didn't have makeup on. He still wanted my number. He wasn't rude. What a relief. And so these things just accumulate, and there's no longer tension when something goes left. There's no longer tension when, something was imperfect. There's no longer a problem. It's no longer a problem anymore. You're not sweating the small stuff. And so, but by putting yourself out there, even when it is imperfect, it's the quickest way to regulate your nervous system to understand, bae, I don't have to be perfect. I'm perfect just how I am. And so that is what I will leave you with this week. I love you so much. I honor you so much. And I am perfect again, but I forgot to tell you, I have a one-on-one coaching program. And if you would love to work with me one-on-one and really get to the root of this issue and feel your worth from the inside so that you can go out into the world, feel imperfect, and get love anyways, so that you are showering yourself with so much love that you can just love yourself no matter what. Comment or DM love. Or we're not on Instagram right now, but you can DM me love. Click the link in the bio. However you want to contact me, if you want more information or if you just want to click to apply. The link is in the show notes, of course. But really what I work with my clients on is always internal work. It's like feeling worthy just as you are now so that you can show up and feel safe to at least be imperfect. And start linking your worth to just how you feel. Like, I worked with a client, and she really wanted more clients in her business. And we just worked on her beliefs about money, her internal world, her beliefs about herself, her worth. And just by doing that, not without changing anything in her services, what she offers, she got more clients. And she was booked for weeks after months of nothing. So, of not what she wanted, at least. So I want you to know that, like, the internal world, it's a prerequisite to everything in the external world. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So once you've mastered that internal world, you're free to go out and master the external world, whether that be with friends, with partners, or anything else that you would like to achieve as a highly purposeful, driven woman. But yeah, if you're interested in that, a link is in the show notes. And it's very helpful and appreciated when you leave comments or a show review. So please do that and follow along for more. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week. Mwah. Bye.